What are we doing? Okay. We are going
Hop
to
over that damn PPA and let's talk about the deal and what we're going to do.
talking through 900 gains this morning. This is in South Carolina. Central being the town. This is right outside of Clemson, South Carolina, I believe. So not too far from the university. Purchasing this from a wholesaler, and we'll go through it. Trav, as usual, we'll go through the numbers. We're just going to shoot through these pictures really quick and give you an overview of the property. And then we can talk through the deal structure. So it's currently a 3-1, almost 1,300 square feet, or just over 1,300 square feet. Could easily be converted into a 3-1 for a buyer. We're not going to do any of that most likely because it's currently in livable condition. We may put some appliances in the kitchen to make it turnkey for a buyer, but overall it's in really good shape. Just kind of an older home. It's got a newer roof, as you can see, but just a nice little 2-bedroom, 1-bath home with plenty of room. Got a screen porch on the side, but in pretty good shape. Nice yard. And that's the thing about these owner finance deals, like we say on all the videos. Folks, just as opposed to us coming in and trying to guess what people are going to want from a rehabbed project, increasing the price and um, out pricing it for our target market. We just come in and clean it out and make it nice and livable, and then let the new buyers come in and make it what they would like and what their vision is. So HVAC 2013, still working fine. It's on a crawl space.
It's like a storage crawl space though, like a walk space.
Yeah, looks like it's, can't really tell, but you may be able to, walk in there, not have to bend down too much. Yeah, that water heater, it looks like there's plenty of headroom in there. Looks nice and dry in there.
Yeah, big yard.
Yeah, pretty yard. Just old, still got the original carpet in there, but well, maybe not the original, but looks like there's hardwoods under this carpet. So buyers will really like that. Clean bathroom. Nice laundry room. And these are notes that if we were going to flip this property, what we would be doing to it, we'd be blowing out that wall, opening it up a little bit. But since this will most likely be an owner finance, we're not going to do any of that. Old kitchen, but it's in good shape. Cabinets are in good shape. We'll probably throw some appliances in there to make it turn.
What we think? You know what I think we'll do on the appliances? I was just thinking about that when we talked about it a minute ago. I think I'll probably put it in the listing, like willing to add appliances with acceptable offer. So then at least we'll get an acceptable offer, go under contract, and then when they close, I'll put the appliances in the house versus that way we can kind of utilize their down payment to pay for the appliances rather than us coming out of pocket for it.
Gotcha.
I think that's what we'll do.
All right.
My turn.
On my screen here. Okay. Over to Trav. How are we structuring this bad boy?
All right. So I did some preliminary homework here. This is like the only time in my life I feel like I've ever done homework is now that we run this real estate business. So, all right. So some of the current state numbers. So here's what they're going to look like. So guys, deal with my handwriting here the best that you can, please. So current state. Purchase price. $67,500. Interest rate. Anywhere between 8 and 12 is what we'll be paying. So that'll make the monthly payment probably right around $675 is a conservative number. This is the refinance state, an as-is condition. Our mortgage will be $75,000. Okay, that's the lowest our lender will refinance a deal for, is for $75K. So this property is worth about 130. So refinancing this in the current state won't be an issue for the terms that we have set up with that financer. So interest, it's usually around 5. We're going to say 6 though. Just going to go conservative. That makes the monthly payment $449 a month. All right. Here's what this is going to look like when we sell it. The property's worth, it has an ARV, let me put that up here, about 130K, maybe a little bit more. We're going to say to get to that $130,000, it's going to cost a homeowner $25,000. Okay, I feel really good about that number. That's probably high. But let's say you're going to add a bedroom, knock some walls out, do a bunch of work on the exterior, maybe even some new siding. So let's jump back down here to the sales side of things. So whenever we sell a property, we list it at 110% ARV minus 50% of the repairs. That puts it at $118,000. So I'm going to list this one all day at $119,000. It's a home run price point too, guys. So that's a really big deal for us. So sale price. So I'll get a down payment. We require $10,000 at the minimum. So that puts our mortgage at $109,000. Okay. Interest rate will be 8.9. Putting the payment $870 a month. Okay. So my end game, let me separate everything here. This is what this is going to look like at the end of this transaction. So I'm going to give 2 examples, right? Because up here I have a current state, following me, current state, and then a refinance state. So I'm going to give you both of what this end game looks like. Current. So this will be when we sell this home, probably in 30 days. Well, it'll probably be less, but let's just say we sell it in 30 days. So cash in. So my profit right up front is $10K from my down payment. My note, $41,500. Sorry, it's terrible, guys, but it's $41,500. My monthly cash flow today, $195. Okay, so it's a good deal right off the bat. Now we go to work on the back end of it, make it an even better deal. So end game after the refi. Okay, remember I did 75,000. So that's up there, and flop up there again. Okay, my cash in, still 10K. I still got a $10,000 down payment, so my profit is still 10K. My note, it's a little bit smaller, 34,000. Okay, although here's the big difference in cash flow. 421. 421 for 30 years is that cash flow that we'll set up. Our note will continue to, this will continue to increase just like always over time. Although on a $109,000 home, creating a $34,000 note in our book is definitely a definition of a home run. So that's the end state, guys. Again, I know these videos are, they're all going to be fairly repetitive. The numbers are just changing. Situations change. Although at the end of this, the biggest thing is home ownership. We're able to provide that to people. That's the absolute beauty of this entire thing. So there's the numbers, guys. Let us know if you got any questions. Sam, did I cover it all?
Yeah, scroll down to your end games just real quick.
And one more thing, guys. This is 900 gains. We'll be doing a few more this morning, too.
Okay, so on the end games, just I'm sure everybody's super smart and followed all of that. To break it down a little bit more, um, the the so this is a cash buy. To back it up to how this high level is flowing, this is a cash buy. We're buying this property. Wholesaler had it on contract. He is assigning it. So we're raising private money to purchase this cash. So that's where Trav gets his current state. So this is private money at 8 to 12%, monthly payment being somewhere around 675, $700, and that resulting in the initial cash flow of 195
Right.
based on that 41K spread between purchase price and sale price at less the 10K down payment. So walking with 10K and 195 cash flow off the bat, while we still have the 67.5 plus, a grand or more in closing and carry costs. That's where we're at right off the bat. And then after the refi at 6%, like Trav said, we're going to refi it at 75K. We'll pull out a little more cash, so we'll still have that 10K down payment. We'll probably try to get another maybe 2-3 out of the refi if it's at 75K. You know what I'm saying? We'll get a little more cash out of the refi, and that'll drop the note down to 34K.
Oh yeah. So after this, you're right, man. So like add, what'd you say, 8K?
Well, I'm just saying it'll probably be after all said and done with points and whatnot on the refi, it may be $3,000, another $3,000 or so.
So add another 3K, and that's that actually, yeah. So that's again, that'll run through a profit on that analysis too, because the end game, everything's already set up on that.
Yep. So through that refi of 75K, we'll be able to pay our private money lender back with their interest. And then we'll have long-term financing for 30 years on the property to enable us to owner finance. And that results in this end game here, where we sell it at 110% of the market value because we're providing built-in financing. And we are accounting for the repairs in that price point that the homeowner will most likely end up doing, or it's in livable condition today. It's just kind of the formula that we follow that seems to work when we're selling these things. And then again, to go into, we hate to bring this up oftentimes, but it's such a crucial part of how we do this and how we're able to owner finance it while we get the we're able to refinance once it's quote unquote owner finance, because the key thing to remember is that we're technically owner financing the beneficial interest of the trust. So we're purchasing cash. The property is going to be titled in a trust. It's a title holding trust. And then when we're owner financing it, you have to shift your mindset. We're owner financing the beneficial interest of the trust, which is ultimately the property. So that buyer is coming in, they are purchasing, they're signing an agreement to become a beneficiary of the trust, to where once they pay the property off or pay the mortgage that's held within the trust off, the title transfers out of the trust into their name. But until then, that property in that trust becomes personal property, and we are able to sell the beneficial interest of the trust. So they are becoming homeowners, but because the title is held in the trust and we're selling the beneficial interest of the trust, the title, we maintain control of the title and we are able to refinance it while they are living in the home, paying the mortgage down on the property. So again, I know that's a little confusing, but every time we do these videos, I just want to clarify how we're doing them. So that'll answer some questions. So again, purchase the property goes into the trust. We sell the beneficial interest of the trust, which is the property, to that new homeowner or to that new buyer. Um, they get occupancy status that's outlined within the trust, so they can live in the property while they're paying it off, while they're paying off their beneficial interest. Um, and we're able to refinance because we still have control over the title. And everything just flows through the trustee, and the trustee approves the refinance and all that and that sort of thing. So it's kind of complicated. Stumble through that. It's still getting better, better and better at communicating that. So I have a ways to go, but
explained it really well, though. It's still explained really well because the biggest thing that it's doing is providing protection to the tenant buyer and to us. We just, it's back to the point of why we're doing it, man. We just feel like it's a better way to sell a home, and it allows us to be able to buy more homes cash and still be able to maintain control and refi. The same thing. It's the exact same thing a bank does. We just think that it's a little bit better. It's more protection for everybody.
Yep. So we secure lower interest financing for the property, and then we find a buyer at a higher interest rate. And again, the buyer, it has all the rights of home ownership. They are able to refinance the property independently on their own if they want to, or if they need to build their credit and then do that. And they then pay us off and secure a lower interest rate for themselves, or they're able to sell the property as well, which is all outlined in the trust. And when they do that, obviously they would pay this $34K note back to us, and then they would have complete control over the property. We don't really want them to do that because we're in the cash flow game. We want it long term, but on average, 5 to 7 years, folks are going to move, they're going to refi, whatever, and pay those off. So again, a good deal, just showing how we can buy cash and still make it work with expensive private money. But ultimately, we want to refi that private money out, pay that private money investor back with interest, and get long-term lower interest money, so we can increase the cash flow on these suckers. So,
and then go put his money in play on the next deal. So we got one more to do, man. Let's chop it up here, and a good explanation of the trust, dude.
Let's see, what are we doing next? Okay.
All right. I'm going to stop the share. Next. Oh. First things first, let me get this in my Summit next. If you want to start teeing everything up.
Which one? Summit?
141 Summit. You did good at explaining that trust, man.
I
think after guys
on that one.
After guys continuously hear it too, over and over and over, it becomes more and more solidified in everybody's mind.
Yeah. I feel like I'm explaining it to us though, and not somebody that has no idea. You know what I mean?
Tell me that again. I didn't hear you. I didn't follow you.
Feel like I'm explaining it to us as opposed to someone who has no idea what I'm talking about.
Well, I think the best place to start is explaining it to us. So
yeah, it'll get better.
Keep getting them out. You're better than I am, so just keep getting them out of the way, and then we'll get to the point where we need to be at with that. All right, man.
Man, this is a nice freaking house. This one's got some fungi in it. I wonder if we could probably get Jamie over there to treat this crawl space.
That's a really good idea. All right, we're buying this puppy for. Oh. Purchase price. 45. Oh shit, we're giving them. Wait a second. So the mortgage is 122. Walk away. 23,500. Interest. 4.75. Monthly P&I. $723. Turds. They're okay. That'll work actually. Never mind.
I'm confused on this one.
Talk to me.
Okay, so we are buying sub to 122. Okay.
Golly, dude, this is a nice house. You got a diesel truck sitting out there too, damn it.
So this one's about a $900 payment.
You factoring in the private money?
Oh, no, sorry. I was factoring in taxes and insurance, so we don't need to worry about that.
No. I'm not going to factor in the private money either. 23,500 for the payment. Wow, man. Might send a cleaning lady through it. Nothing needing done to that place. Okay.
Why wouldn't you factor the private money in?
We can. It's just two separate payments. Yes, we can.
Just to paint the full picture, I would just say, another $200 in interest a month for private money.
$35. Cool, man. It's a good interest rate. All right. Where is the... What are we selling this puppy for, Hunt?
200.
Whoa. Whoa. Okay.
It says it's got a lien on it. I wonder what the lien is. I mean, it came from the lien list.
It's got 2 judgments on it. I haven't read into them yet. We're just taking it out of his walk-away money.
Oh, okay. Oh, it's only $1,000. All right. 1,600 square feet. Where's the bed and bath on this? Hey, gummit, man. This is so hard to find stuff. $141. 3.2, 1,600. I think that 200K was the owner finance ARV.
Look at that.
I think that's pretty accurate though. All right, you ready?
Almost. Cool. Let's roll. Team 121 Summit, I think. 141 Summit.
Okie doke. All right. We're going to talk through 141 Summit Ridge Drive in Boiling Springs, South Carolina. Let me just open this map so people can see where that's at. So it's north of northern part of Spartanburg, South Carolina. Nice little area up there. A good neighborhood. You can see the street view over here. It's a clean little house. Doesn't need much work at all. Let's jump into some pictures. Again, the property address is 141 Summit Ridge Drive in Boiling Springs, South Carolina, just north of Spartanburg. It is a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, 1,600 square foot home. You can see from the outside it's in really good condition, with just some minor work to do. And again, we're going to be owner financing this one, so not a lot of rehab work. We will let the new tenant buyers do that work and kind of put their sweat equity into it and make it their home. That's what we're all about. So front picture here. Cruise through these quickly.
Yeah, there's not a lot. This is a clean house, man. Got a nice Laramie Dodge too.
Yeah. We will most likely get someone in there to address the leaking condensation from the HVAC unit that's causing a little fungi growth in the crawl space, but that'll be easily taken care of. We may even have one of our current tenant buyers who does remediation come in there and check it out and knock it out for us. But not a big deal. Here in the South, any basement crawl space you go into, you're going to have fungi of some sort, but we'll get that knocked out.
Probably put a new vapor barrier on there too, it looked like.
Yeah. Pretty much brand new condenser on the outside unit for the HVAC. Nice deck on the back. Just a solid home. Pretty much move-in ready. Nice fenced-in backyard. Propane for heat.
Big deck.
Yeah.
Yeah, somebody's gonna love this house.
Yeah, just a really clean property, ready to roll for a new tenant buyer.
Dual vanity. That'll work well. How many beds was this one? Bed and bath? Two?
3-2.
Bath?
3-2, yeah. 3-2. So the dishwasher line needs to be connected. It kind of makes me dizzy scrolling through these pictures so fast. But
You have more to talk to, but whenever you got one this
yeah,
clean.
yeah, it's kind of nice not having much to say about the pictures because it's pretty much ready to roll. So this one, Ethan got this one sub 2. I believe Ethan got this one sub 2. If it wasn't Hunter, but this will be a good deal to talk through because we'll talk about the trust, how we go through the process again, and make this a win-win-win for the seller, for the buyer, and for us. And it's more like a win-win-win-win because we've got the seller, we've got the private money investor, we've got our business, and then we have the buyer. Everybody comes out on top on this. And again, we feel like this is the new way to do real estate. So this is a perfect example of how we can help somebody out that has a troubled property that I think they have a lien on this one as well that we're going to take care of, 2 liens on it that we'll take care of, get them out from under the property so they can move on. We'll take over the responsibility for the mortgage, making the mortgage of the payments for the underlying mortgage that's in place, and put a new buyer in place. So I don't even know. There is some walkaway money on this one, so we'll obviously have a private money investor come in for the walkaway, but kick it over to Trav to talk through the numbers. I think you should be able to share. Hey Trav, why don't before you talk through the numbers on this one, what if do you want to talk through the trust model on the front end of this and then go through the numbers?
Yeah, talk about how we put it into trust.
Yeah, just talk about. I thought it would be good to just show a visual, kind of do a drawing of some sort, talk through the trust, and then through.
Oh yeah, man, I'm not the best at this, so I might need some help on it. But it's like, so whenever we purchase the property on the front end, like in essence, we're taking over responsibility for their mortgage. So if you know how to kind of explain to me, Sam, I'll definitely draw this puppy on here, but I'm not the
Okay.
best at drawing them.
All right, yeah, let's give it a shot. So like we said, we're purchasing this property subject to. So subject to, if you're unfamiliar, all that means is subject to the underlying mortgage. So there's a current mortgage in place, and we're coming in and paying off the liens in cash, and giving the seller a chunk of cash right off the bat to enable them to move on, to pay off some bills, to get into a new property. But the majority of the purchase price is built in financing based on that mortgage that is already in place. So the mortgage will stay in the seller's name, but we will take over all responsibilities for the property and for the mortgage. So we will pay the principal and interest, and the new tenant buyer, through their payment, will pay the taxes and insurance. So everything will be covered by the new buyer's payment, but we're taking over the property subject to the underlying mortgage. So we'll take it sub 2. Title will transfer out of the seller's name into the name of the trust. So we create a trust for every property that we buy. So this will be the Summit Drive Trust, let's call it. So maybe draw I forget how Jeff does it, draw like the document or whatever, the trust, if you can. And I can edit out whatever doesn't make sense. So let's say that let's call that the title. Let's call that the title.
I wish I knew where you were going with it, and I could try to stay with you.
So we're going to show how the title transfer, we're going to show how the trust encompasses everything. So this is the title that's currently in the seller's name. That title is going to transfer in the trust. So let's draw a big circle in the middle, Trav, and that'll be the trust. Okay, so when we close on the property on the buy side, that title is then going to go into the trust name. So that will be held in the trust.
Wonder why all these are crooked.
And what happens here on the front end is that the seller becomes a settler. They gain beneficial interest of the trust. So that enables us to avoid any Dodd-Frank or due on sale issues with the underlying mortgage, because the sellers still has beneficial interest on the trust. So they are still associated with that property. So they are a beneficiary, the seller. We become a beneficiary because we have purchased the property subject to. We have equitable interest in there because we put we are purchasing it with equity, and the private money lender will have beneficial interest of the promissory note that is also held within the trust. So there's also a promissory note held in that trust, and that's what ties the private money lender to the trust and protects them. So to take a step back, the reason that we put this in a trust is to protect, is a safeguard for everybody involved. It's a safeguard for the seller, it's a safeguard for the private money lender, and it's a safeguard for Runway Properties as the investor, and protects everyone's interest to where it's clearly defined. So again, the seller has beneficial interest. We have beneficial interest in the private money lender at this point. This is on the purchase side. So now we've purchased the property. Trav's going to go and market it for a tenant buyer. And then we find a buyer who is going to come in and occupy the property. And then they will also become beneficiary of the trust. My man Alan got another property for us to buy. Love getting those texts. So now we've got the tenant buyer who is going to come in and put a down payment down and become the beneficiary of the trust. And so what that means is within the trust, we will create a mortgage that will be held in there as well. And we will also create a lease. So that tenant buyer comes in and they have, I think we're selling this one for $200K. They'll come in, there will be a mortgage on the property that we apply to the tenant buyer for $200K. And what happens is when that title transfers into a title holding trust, it now becomes personal property. So yes, we're technically selling the home at the end of the day, but what we're actually selling from a legal standpoint is that beneficial interest of the trust. So the buyer is coming in and buying the beneficial interest of the trust. They're not buying the property legally, they're buying the beneficial interest. So they are buying that mortgage. And the reason that we're doing that is to protect the seller, ourselves, and the private money lender, because if that buyer stops making payments or they default or whatever, as opposed to having to go and foreclose on them, since they're only buying the beneficial interest and not the actual property, we don't have to foreclose. We can evict because they're technically on a lease. So put that in there too, Trav. Put the lease in the trust. So that lease is going to give them occupancy status. So they can occupy the property while they're paying it off. And that mortgage is held in there as well. So let's say that
these are all going right here perfectly on that end of it. So those are kind of all, really, it probably would have been a better picture to draw a house and put in a buyer, lease, and mortgage within the trust, really. Because then that puts all three different things in there. You know, you have the title, prom note, home, all encompassed within a trust.
Yep. Okay.
Everybody holding their own beneficial interest within the trust.
Yep. Okay. We can do it that way next time. So, but in any way, I think hopefully folks will get the gist that the trust basically encompasses and encompasses everything that we're doing here. So the tenant buyer knows what the mortgage amount is to purchase that beneficial interest. They are going to be paying that down based on the lease, but from a legal standpoint, they are a tenant. They have they're a beneficiary of the trust, but from an occupancy standpoint, they are a tenant. And also, not to go too deep, but the way that the trust is outlined, since they are a beneficiary of the trust agreement states that anyone who stops making payments on the lease, all beneficiaries must pursue eviction for them. So basically, they're signing up as a beneficiary to evict themselves if they were to stop making payments.
Yep.
So again, it's a really cool tool, super powerful a way to do deals, and but it can get a little complicated. But it all makes sense. But it's all about putting safeguards in place to protect everybody's interest in the deal. And at the end of the day, it's all about getting that buyer, um, uh, relieving the seller from a problem property, and providing home ownership to a buyer. So a little lengthy explanation here. But what this also enables us to do is, actually, I won't get into it in this deal because we're not going to refi. But
Yeah, and we're going to get better at explaining and drawing it, but really we're just minimizing any downside that can happen. It's a way of doing like a transaction, just a better way and a different way.
Yep. So again, pretty complicated. Just want to give that overview. All right. So
let's jump into the numbers.
The numbers.
I'm going to get a whole new page here. All right. So again, guys, this is 141 Summit if you're the investor on this deal. So I'll be talking about your returns, what your money will be doing, and how it's all going to work. So we're purchasing this home for, I believe it was 145K. ARV is 185, which means in the owner finance ARV world, it's 200K. Okay. So the way we have this thing set up, I did some homework before this, so I kind of have all my notes here. You'll see me glancing down at it. So the mortgage on this one was $122,000. We have a walkaway amount, which in this case, guys, so the walkaway amount is always the private money. That's private money lending. So whoever the private money lender is, you're the walkaway here. $23,500. Okay. The interest rate on the underlying, which is right here, the 122, is 4.7. This interest rate for our investors, we're anywhere between 8 and 12%. So that makes our payment on the mortgage $723 a month. And our payment to our private money lender somewhere around $235, give or take. Okay. So that's an all-in. What is that? Total monthly payment. Total. What is it? 859. 958. Cool. So, all right, guys, let's go sell this puppy. So again, our owner finance ARV, it'll be 200,000. For this one, I'll probably get a little bit bigger of a down payment than 10K. Truthfully, we'll probably get bigger than 15, but let's just say we get a $15,000 down payment. That makes my total mortgage on this property $185K. My interest rate is 8.9, making my monthly payment $1,475. All right. So here's the end game, guys. There's no refinancing being done here. We're taking over the underlying, and we have a private money lender in place. So here's the end game. So my profit, my cash in right off the bat, 15,000. My note, 40,000. Cash flow, 517. All right. That's the end game on the note, guys. A couple of things to point out here. Whenever we do a mortgage, we add 5% to it, 3 for origination, 2 for closing costs, since we cover the buyer's closing costs on the front end. Then, a couple things I want to point out. So the private money lender, he's probably in here for a few years, or, 6 months, 12 months, whatever he wants to be in there for, 30 years. It's wherever you want to be at. So he's earning $235 a month. He or she is earning $235 a month. Let's just say we're going to pay them back within 12 months. So I'm adding to my cash flow $235. So here's what my deal is going to look. Here's what this deal is going to look like in a 12-month time frame. It'll actually be cash flowing $752 by the end of that term. So if we keep the private money lender in for 30 years, we'll cash flow $517. They'll cash flow $235 a month. And that's all with just being in for 20 to 25K, guys. Great deal for everyone there. If the private money lender wants their money back 6 months, 12 months, 36 months, 5 years, we'll pay them back at that time. And then our cash flow will increase to $752 a month. Our note, here's the big thing to point out again, guys. This is something, this is the beauty of this stuff. So I think did this note just refi, or was this an older note, Sam? Do you remember?
It just refied.
It just refied. So here's the cool thing. Even though this is a brand new note, so ours is at 7. Point out a few things. Ours is at 4.75. It's at 8.9. The equity pay down on this note is so much bigger, so much faster than what these are. This right here probably won't grow a ton each year, but it'll probably grow over 3,000+ and just snowball every year to add another, 5-10% to the deal every single year. Where at year 10, this note, it's probably 60+ K by the time they cash out. So, and we're still cash flowing this or this, depending on the private money lender. So just wanted to point that out. It's a really cool thing. And you make 15K on the front end. That's it for that note, guys.
Cool. Again, 141 Summit, just north of Spartanburg, South Carolina.
Yeah, it's a good spot.
Cool,
man. I think that's it on that deal.
I should get a thing.
You should, because those will all be on and we'll put dumb shit on the front of them, hey, if Vic has a private money lender, we'll put Jeff invest loser, or just something invest, Jeff's deal or something like that.
All right, what else we need to talk about? Looks like Alan's got another deal in Anderson for us.
Jane buys homes.
Yeah, could do that.
Get it, man. I'm gonna get to work with Kayla. Yeah, good stuff this morning, man. I think I'm all set.
All right,
for the day.
Talk to you in a little bit.
All right, man. Later.
Later.